Hello, everybody. My name is Vinny. I'm a college admissions counselor, and this is my Illinois colleges tier list. And go ahead and skip this if you're just here to hear the explanations, but I want to explain some of the methodology. This was not that easy for me. I did do a lot of research. I used a lot of the U.S. News Report. Uh, I read the niche reviews. I read College Report Card. So this is just at the end of the day an opinion, but it is an informed opinion. As for the tiers themselves, S is going to be superb, unrealistically good school that even top students can't expect to get into. A is absolutely amazing. B is very, very good. C is cool, good school. D is still a good school, but probably not where our first choice is going to be. F is financially just doesn't make sense. So, what were some of the factors that I tracked in order to grade these schools? I used national ranking, reputation, student outcome, average salaries, post-university employment rate, mid-career salaries, student reviews, campus, and campus life. So, again, a lot went into this list. However, it is still, at the end of the day, my opinion. Let's get into it. S tier, we have University of Chicago and Northwestern. Unbelievably good schools. They're doing very, very important research on a global scale. Northwestern, I would give a bit of an edge to fine arts. And U Chicago, I might give a bit of an edge if you were interested in hard sciences or math, especially math. A tier, we have UIUC in a complete league of its own. UIUC, if you are an Illinois resident, is the king of value. This school, until recently, until U.S. News Reports redid their metrics for grading, was a top 30 school. And the price that you're going to get is, again, fantastic. Well, it's still horrible. It's an American college. It's still really expensive. But the value, though, is unmatched. And UIUC in the past decade has even really improved in its student life. 20 years ago, a lot of people said, I don't know, it kind of feels like more high school. But these days, this is like a number one party school. It is a very diverse school now, attracts a lot of international students. So this school has really, really improved. And especially for STEM, you are going to have a great outcome as long as you put in the effort. And on top of that, UIUC is not prohibitively hard to get into, unlike our S tiers. Let me briefly talk about the face of Illinois colleges in general, because it's a pretty unique landscape. So as you can see, it's very top heavy in Illinois. And on top of that, there's a lot of religious affiliated institutions, a lot of Catholic schools, a lot of small liberal arts schools. So generally speaking, my experience with students is we're really aiming usually, if you're a good top student, we're aiming usually for something S to B tier in Illinois. And if we cannot attain those, a lot of the times those top students will look to go out of state. But Illinois is a very expensive state to live in and to go to school in. But it is, of course, you get what you pay for, right? It is a very, very inclusive and peaceful state overall. Okay, B tier. The order within the tiers, guys, is not, for the most part, does not matter unless otherwise stated. Loyola, though, I did put first. That is my number one B tier school here in Illinois. Loyola, just fantastic outcomes, fantastic breadth of programs. Whatever you want to do at Loyola, they're going to have it. UIC, fantastic, again, great value. Public, unlike Loyola, so the value is really, really there for UIC. So a lot of the city schools we're going to see in here, in this B tier. IIT, if you're interested in STEM, IIT. DePaul is, the fun fact, the largest Catholic university in the country. DePaul really prioritizes admitting people from disadvantaged backgrounds. in keeping with St. Vincentius's motto. DePaul can be very expensive. However, they also are very generous with their scholarship. Bradley University, and then maybe some surprises for you. University of St. Francis and Elmhurst, fantastic statistics. Rush University with a big asterisk in that it only is for healthcare, so it's not really going to appeal to the vast majority of first year, 4-year university students. Okay, C tier, again, still very, very good schools here. We have Wheaton and Lewis. Lewis, famous for pilots and nursing. Wheaton, very good outcomes for being a small liberal arts college. We have that building there is SAIC, or the Art Institute. And the Art Institute is, if you really want that pure fine arts experience, that is the go-to school. North Central, small liberal arts college, once again, might not have heard of it, but great outcomes. It's in one of the richest and safest neighborhoods of Naperville, which is Naperville in Illinois. Again, a lot of names you should recognize here: Western, Governor State, NIU, SIU, and ISU. And then D tier. This is if you are maybe not that book smart of a student. Maybe your GPA is more like a 3.0 or below. Typically are the type of students who might be going for these D tier schools. Maybe you didn't get the standardized testing scores necessary. These types of schools might only require like a very average, honestly, a very average SAT score of about like 1,050. So for these, let me explain maybe some of the more confusing or controversial picks. So Millikan, I didn't really want to put Millikan in D tier. However, what tipped me over the edge for Millikan was the student and professor reviews of the school were overall very poor, and I didn't expect that really, but it just doesn't seem like people are having that much fun there, so I put Millikan in D. Roosevelt is a city school, and it's very modern, but the cost and the outcomes for Roosevelt, it tends to be a very non-traditional school. It's not really where a first year undergrad is going to go usually. It's more of a more adult or non-traditional student focus, so I'm going to put Roosevelt, unfortunately, in D. Trinity Christian and Principia were two that surprised me a little bit. I didn't know very much about these schools, especially Principia, very, very small school. But I really had to dig deep for this data. Overall, solid outcomes for Principia. Expensive, but very solid outcomes, and a 75% graduation rate is very high. And I find it difficult to believe that a school with that high of a graduation rate could be anything lower than D for sure. Columbia College, another city school, is here in D tier, and I did do that because it is a very fine arts focused school with high cost and underwhelming outcomes. Overall, of course, a fine arts focus financially is risky for your college career. Now, I love fine arts, don't get me wrong, but I think it would make more sense financially to study something more practical while you pursue your art in the background until you've gotten the skills and the exposure to maybe make that your main focus in life. And then F tier just financially does not make sense. I define this as schools that were significantly more expensive than average, and its graduates make less than the median as well. So these schools, I'm not saying they're bad schools. I don't really have any personal experience with these schools. I don't think that they're bad schools. I just think financially it doesn't make sense to go here. Even if these are the only schools you get into, I would not go here. I would rather go to a community college, hopefully prove myself with all A's and B's in community college, and then do some sort of guaranteed 4-year transfer program out of those community colleges to like an NIU or a UIC. Then I would go to one of these F tier schools. I also want to make a couple more notes. Chicago State in D tier. This is an HBCU, so if that appeals to you, keep that in mind. And again, the face of the Illinois schools overall pretty interesting. Lots and lots of small liberal arts schools. So if you're not interested in the liberal arts, which again could be things like English, languages, writing, philosophy, theology, psycho, not psychometrician, excuse me, psychology, then these schools may appeal to you. If you're more focused on STEM, then you might prefer to either transfer out of a community college to a higher rated school, go out of state. But yeah, it's just a very interesting college spread here in Illinois. Very, very top heavy for sure. If I missed your school or if you really disagree with one of these placements, let me know. Thanks for watching, everybody, and good luck to all of my seniors.